Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at some insane battles in the Evolution Cup featuring the wrong fast move challenge. As you guys may know, the Evolution Cup meta is very condensed. You'll pretty much only see 5 or 6 different Pokemon. So I thought, let's see if I can try and get some wins using those same Pokemon, but with all the wrong fast moves. We have Scratch on Vigoroth, Feint Attack on Dusclops, and Bite on Zweilous. I definitely lost more than I won, but the wins that I got were glorious. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out the wrong fast move team in action in the Evolution Cup. Hopping to the first match, leading Vigoroth into Dragonair. Typically, Vigoroth can outpace Dragonair in this matchup, but not when I am running Scratch. So I farm up some energy and save switch into the Feint Attack Dusclops. They fire off an Aqua Tail. That's not going to do a whole lot. They bank a bunch of energy and they bring in Vigoroth. This is exactly what I needed to happen. Feint Attack on Dusclops does provide a significantly better Vigoroth matchup, but it makes a lot of other matchups for Dusclops worse. Body Slam is not going to KO here. I'm going to let this through, force them to bulldoze, and that's exactly what they do. I'm hoping this is Scratch down range. My Vigoroth is able to Scratch down. That's huge. I'm going to fire off the Body Slam into the Dragonair the moment they bring it in. Opponent sends in a Dusclops instead, and that is not great as this is going to be double resisted, but now it's all up to 2 shield Zweilous, and my opponent is actually running Feint Attack as well for the extra Vigoroth coverage. I will shield the Ice Punch as this would do a lot of damage. Back in comes the Dragonair. The Dragonair able to hit for massive super effective damage with the Dragon Breaths. I shield with the Body Slam. Zweilous going for the Bite farm down, but they're able to reach a second move. This is not good. This is going to be getting my Zweilous incredibly low. The question is, can Zweilous farm down before Dusclops gets to a move? Zweilous able to bite down, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Vigoroth into Celio. Typically a very nice matchup for Vigoroth, but since I don't have counter, that matchup is significantly worse for me. They save switch into Shadow Dragonair, and honestly, I'm going to be staying in here. I will commit the shield, continue to farm up. These scratches are doing a lot of damage. I'm going to fire off the Body Slam. Body Slam gets the shield from Dragonair. Dragonair fires off another move. Opponent unfamiliar with the scratch counts, and that is incredible news for me. I'm going to bring in Dusclops, going for the Feint Attack farm down, and I'm barely able to get it. I desperately need them to bring in the Celio here, and they do. Yes, that's exactly what I needed to happen. I'm going to fire off the Return. Return does not one-shot, but it will do a lot of damage to the Seal. Celio commits the shield, and this is honestly a little scary. I'm in a bit of a tough spot here. They fire off the Aurora Beam. That's going to get me low. I realize I'm not going to be able to reach a move, so I'm forced to bring in the Zweilous. I'm going to shield, hoping they go straight for the Aurora Beam, and they do. That's big. I just have to get to a Body Slam before they reach the next one, and I do, but it's a CMP tie. I need this Body Slam to KO. Body Slam barely does not KO. Opponent lives on 1 HP on the Celio. Aurora Beam takes me out, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, leading Vigoroth into Togetic. This is one of the only meta matchups that is improved by Vigoroth running Scratch, as my fast moves hit for neutral instead of double resisted. Opponent is going to save switch into Dusclops, and I have a great response available with Bite Zweilous. Unfortunately, I was slow on the switch, which could end up costing me because Dusclops with an energy lead is incredibly scary. They fire off the Ice Punch, and they're already at Ice Punch number 2. I will be able to survive this, but I'm going to be very low on health. I continue to farm up. Dusclops is already at another move. I miscounted there, and I'm forced to burn a shield. I'm hoping that I am going to be able to farm down here. Zweilous not able to farm down, and it's a simultaneous KO. Misplays galore to begin this match. I bring in my Vigoroth, and they bring in theirs. I do have the Body Slam basically ready to go, so I fire off the Body Slam. I'm able to grab the shield. I continue to farm up and bring in my own Dusclops. So I do have a bit of energy on my Vigoroth, and they're staying in to fire off a Bulldoze. Honestly, this works out quite nicely for me, and back in comes Togetic. I'm going straight for the Ice Punch. This is going to hurt if it lands. Ice Punch gets the shield. Togetic continues to farm. Honestly, I'm going to let this through. They're going to be firing off a move. They go for the Dazzling Gleam that definitely KOs, and suddenly I see a win con. If I can farm down with Vigoroth and leave with 2 body slams, I can win this game. I shield the Ancient Power. Vigoroth going for the scratch down. Vigoroth able to get it. That's big. I'm very close to the back-to-back moves here. Opponent brings back in their own Vigoroth. Body slam number 1 lands. And I'm able to get to body slam number 2. Vigoroth taking out my opponent. And that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Vigoroth into another Dragonair lead, but this time this one is Shadow. Even though this is a losing matchup with Scratch, I'm going to be staying in this lead, so that way, even if I end up losing lead, I can hopefully get a farm down on either one of my back 2 mons. I shield up the body slam, and I'm firing back with a body slam of my own. Vigoroth grabs a shield from Dragonair, that's huge. Opponent save switches into their own Vigoroth, and I have the perfect response available with my Feint Attack Dusclops. Feint Attack allows Dusclops to do meaningful fast move damage in this matchup, which is a dramatic improvement over running Hex for this particular matchup. As you can see, the Feint Attacks are adding up quite a bit already. I fire off the Return. Return does big damage, and they're forced to settle for a Body Slam because they're so low on health. Body Slam, double resisted, does basically nothing. In the back, they have a Shadow Golbat. I'm going to fire off the Ice Punch. This Ice Punch is going to hurt if it lands. Opponent commits the shield. They're going to have to throw a move here. I continue to farm up. They're going for a farm down, and that allows me to reach another Ice Punch. Let's go. They leave with a ton of energy. They're very low on HP. I'm going to bring in the Zweilous to absorb the energy. They're going to fire off the Poison Fang. That is going to debuff my defense, which is quite unfortunate. I'm going to be letting the second one through as well, anticipating the switch, and I bring in Vigoroth to reset my debuff. Zweilous able to farm down. I'm low. Golbat able to farm down, and we lose a heartbreaking game. Nightmare lead in the next match, Vigoroth into the mirror. Normally, I wouldn't describe a mirror match as a nightmare lead, but if you're running Scratch while they're running counter, you get absolutely crushed in the mirror. I save switch into my Dusclops, and I'm able to bait out a Celio. Honestly, this is terrific. My Zweilous does not want to face this Celio, so I'm very happy to see it here. I am going to get outpaced thanks to Feint Attack. They are at another Aurora Beam. I'm just going to let this go. Aurora Beam is going to be able to take me out. I bring in Vigoroth, and I'm just able to Scratch down. I now have an energy lead, which is going to be very helpful because Scratch is incredibly slow at getting the charge moves. I fire off the Body Slam, they let it through, and they throw. Honestly, this is perfect. I'm just going to let this go and trust in Zweilous. They've had 2 Zweilous counters already, so I'm hoping that final Mon is going to be weak to Zweilous in the back. I am going to respect the Body Slam. They're staying in here. They switch at the last second, and it's a Dusclops, and I actually may be able to win this game. They are at the back-to-back Ice Punches, but one is not going to be enough to KO, so I let it through. I'm able to live. Zweilous bites down the Dusclops and the Vigoroth, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, picking up a terrible lead, Vigoroth into the mirror. As you can see, the counter damage adds up a lot, and they're able to get to charge moves a lot faster than I can. They fire off the Body Slam. That gets me quite low. I am barely able to reach a Body Slam before they're able to take me out. Body Slam does get a shield from the opponent, and they're able to counter me down. They leave with a lot of energy. I'm going to bring in Dusclops to force them to go for Bulldozes. Bulldoze, not the strongest move ever, and Dusclops is fairly tanky, so I'm able to absorb that damage. I'm going to overfarm ever so slightly, fire off the Ice Punch. Ice Punch should be enough to take out the Vigoroth, and in the back, they have Hakamo, and this is an absolute nightmare as I have Bite Zweilous, and Bite Zweilous gets absolutely shredded by Hakamo. I'm going to be firing off the Ice Punch. Ice Punch is able to land. Hakamo able to tank it. I try and go for another, but I die with the move, and I concede the match. Hopping to the next match, leading Vigoroth into Shadow Piloswine. Opponent will immediately save switch into their own Vigoroth, and I respond with my Dusclops. This is exactly where I need to see Vigoroth. They're farming up. They're going to fire off a bulldoze. That is perfectly fine. I'm going to let this bulldoze through. I tank it, no problem. I farm up to the return, but I'm actually baiting with the ice punch. I'm expecting my opponent is going to try and make a play for switch, and they do as they commit the shield on the bait. That's huge. I do actually survive this next bulldoze, so I'm going to let this go. I should be able to tank it with enough HP to reach the return, and if they want switch, they're going to have to give me both of their shields. Return does get the shield, so my opponent willing to give up both shields in order to flip switch. I'm going to bring in my Vigoroth. The scratches do not do a lot of damage here. They're going to be firing off a Body Slam. Body Slam does a lot of damage. I'm going to try and commit to the farm down, and I'm barely able to get it. That's huge. They're going to bring in Piloswine. At this point, they know I don't have counter. I fire off the Body Slam. That does some solid damage. In comes Wireless. These bites beginning to add up. In the back, they have Shadow Golbat. Shadow Golbat is significantly less tanky than the regular, so that should hopefully help me out here. I shield the Poison Fang. Poison Fang does debuff my defense, and I fire off the Body Slam on CMP. I'm really hoping this KOs. Body Slam, barely not enough to KO. They survive on 1 HP, and that is really unfortunate. I do commit the shield on the Poison Fang. I have to outpace the Piloswine, and I'm barely able to do so. Body Slam will be taking out the Piloswine, and that is a good game. Hopping into the final match, setting Vigoroth into Golbat. This is another matchup where having Scratch can actually be slightly helpful. The Scratches are adding up quite a bit. They're able to outpace, and they fire off the Poison Fang. I'm going to let this through. Poison Fang doesn't do a lot. They save switch into their own Vigoroth, and I respond with my Dusclops. They're going to be firing off the Bulldoze. As we've seen, I tank one fairly comfortably, so I am going to be letting that through. I'm going to farm up quite a bit, and then I'm going to fire off the return before they're able to reach their second Bulldoze. I'm hoping that they decide to let this through. Return does get shielded, and that is really unfortunate for me. This is another Bulldoze. I will be able to survive it, but I'm only going to be able to reach an Ice Punch, and an Ice Punch is not enough to take out Vigoroth from this health range. Ice Punch does get them low. My opponent knows it's not a return, and they're able to farm down. I bring in my own Vigoroth, looking for the scratch down, but they're able to reach a Body Slam. I commit the shield, I farm down, and I have energy to threaten the Golbat if they decide to bring it back in. My opponent waiting their clock, and they bring in an Alolan Graveler. I bring in Zweilous. Graveler farming up a lot of energy. This is enough for a Stone Edge, so I am going to respect it with my final shield, but I get baited with a Rock Blast. In comes Golbat. I fire off the Body Slam. I know this is not going to be enough to KO here. Body Slam does a lot, but they're able to tank it and reach the Poison Fang. That is unfortunate, as Poison Fang is, of course, going to get that debuff. They're going to bring back in the Graveler. I farm up, go for the Body Slam, but I mistime it, and I accidentally throw an alignment. A huge mistake. Body Slam gets the shield. My switch clock is up. I switch into the Vigoroth, and I'm able to snipe with a Body Slam. Body Slam is resisted, but it still takes out the Graveler, and that is a good game. All in all, I had an absolute blast with the wrong fast move challenge. It definitely proved to be, as its name says, a challenge, as I lost a lot more games than I won, but being able to get those wins despite running all of the wrong fast moves did feel absolutely incredible. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible, so thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.